And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, Harford County Executive Bob Cassilly.
Thank you, Pat. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Nice crowd. I want to thank you all for being here this evening, the council members, all my directors that are here today, the many honored guests, citizens that are here, and the ones watching on television. I'm honored to be with you this evening to report on Harford County's progress at the midpoint in my 4-year term as county executive. 2 years ago, I came into office with a mandate, grounded in a set of principles and priorities, and I outlined those in my inauguration, and they haven't changed. Those were integrity and accountability in government, public safety, our top priority, responsible budgeting to ensure good stewardship of our taxpayers' hard-earned dollars, economic development to achieve growth that sustains and enriches our entire community, support for education, for our children's future and for our own, a quality of life for all residents. But it's not enough just to talk about these ideals. We reach our goals by taking action. As Benjamin Franklin said, well done is better than well said. Tonight, I'll report to you what we have done and what we're doing to serve our citizens. As is usually the case in local government, the day-to-day work is rarely flashy, which makes me sort of a good fit for this job. But our results are impactful. They're changing lives every day. Public safety has been our priority since day one. As you all know, just months into my term, I was notified by our volunteer Fire and Ambulance Association that the county had to immediately take over emergency medical services from the association. The resulting county-run ambulance service now includes 17 full-time, fully staffed, highly trained ambulance crews deployed 24/7 throughout our entire county. And I'm delighted to report that thanks to our efforts, EMS response times are down, and we're saving lives every day. These are situations where minutes count. Recently, one of our citizens, a 62-year-old woman, was going into cardiac arrest. Our dispatchers helped her fiance do CPR, but she had no pulse. Our ambulance team arrived within those crucial first minutes, and they were able to resuscitate her. And today, she's alive and well, and she's able to enjoy her 2 new grandbabies, and she's with us this evening, along with her family, and also the first responders that were involved in that. I just ask all those involved that you wouldn't just please step up, stand up, and show us who's here. Thank you, and congratulations. So we're on schedule now to complete construction of the long-awaited Abington Fire Company's new headquarters in Belcamp this coming fall. And that'll provide us with another location for our ambulance crews to serve the busy and I'm afraid too often dangerous I-95 corridor. I want to take this time to give special thanks to all of our volunteers and EMS providers. And I want to also thank all of our first responders for their incredible service to our citizens. I was on the scene of the response to the devastating house explosion on Arthur Woods. I had a first-hand account to witness the cooperation, coordination, dedication, and hard work of our volunteer firefighters, our emergency services department, law enforcement, including our Harford County Sheriff's deputies, federal and state law enforcement partners, our Department of Public Works, BGE, and other first responders. And I've seen the same level of professionalism and dedication in their well-coordinated responses to crimes and flooding and hurricane winds and other crisis events that we've been blessed with over the past year. We're providing additional support to our volunteer fire companies to ensure their continued service, including assistance in recruitment and retention, increased allotments for tuition assistance, and providing medical supplies for our volunteer and EMS providers. We can't thank these volunteers enough for their service and sacrifice, and I'm going to acknowledge John Gallagher, who's the president of the association. John, you can stand up. There he is. Thanks for being here. We're fully committed to enabling the long-term continued service of volunteer fire companies well into the future. But we all know there's challenges here and ahead. The Harford County Fire Association recently voted unanimously to request that the county provide some level of professional firefighters to supplement the great work being done by our volunteers. This just reflects the fact that our volunteer fire companies face unprecedented demands for service and challenges in maintaining an all-volunteer force. We're carefully evaluating the request. I want to be clear that we continue to be very well served by our volunteers, but we can't ignore the reality on the horizon. It's imperative that we continue planning for the introduction of some level of paid fire service in the future as resources permit. The other half of public safety is our police. Ladies and gentlemen, we're exceptionally well served, and we're honored to keep the promise to our sheriff's deputies that we made at the beginning of this administration to keep them as our top funding priority. Over the first 2 years of this administration, we've increased police compensation by 14%, and will continue to invest in our law enforcement officers, these outstanding men and women who serve us every day. We have funded 10 new deputies, 4 new school resource officers, and that'll be increasing to 7. We've also invested in state-of-the-art public radios that provide needed encrypted communications. I know the sheriff is with us here this evening. I want to say, Jeff, I look forward to working with you, and I thank all the members of the sheriff's office that I see back here in the back for attending, and I appreciate your support and look forward to working with you. In the aftermath of the school shooting in Joppatown, at the presence of a violent offender in Aberdeen High School, we recently increased support to schools to allow them to deploy enhanced weapons detection systems. I went to Joppatown High School on the day of the shooting and immediately offered the county's full support. My administration worked with the schools to pilot a weapons detection system that is now in place at Joppatown High. We also coordinated a visit by the school, the sheriff, and other county officials to Cambridge High School to view the latest equipment on weapons detection that they have in place at that school. And we also provided the schools with $1.1 million in rapid assistance to purchase security infrastructure. Due to unfortunate changes in our state laws, we now face unprecedented challenges to student safety. Sadly, newly enacted state laws hide from our schools, our police, and even our parents the serious crimes committed by some of the juveniles that are out there. The result? Far too many unsupervised violent youth are put back into our communities and our schools. The risk to our students is compounded by laws that prohibit effective school discipline. My administration is working with our delegation to advocate for changes to these laws necessary to protect our children. With our focus on public safety, we're ever mindful of the risk our citizens face every day simply as they and their loved ones go out on the public streets. When I came into office, I established quarterly meetings and very impactful meetings with our State Highway Administration partners. And working with those partners, we've made substantial progress in addressing critical roadway challenges. And I'd like to thank State Highway Minister Will Pines for being such a great partner. With construction wrapping up on the extensive I-95 improvements, the state's begun a 3-year project for the new interchange at routes 24 and I-95. This will be a major improvement to our county's primary entrance. The final engineering design for Woodley Road is now complete. Woodley, that's the long sought-after bypass that will reroute warehouse truck traffic away from the center of Perryman. We're now working with Aberdeen Proving Ground for the final approvals, and I appreciate Colonel Phil Mundwell is here this evening, the APG Garrison Commander. Phil, if you would please stand up, and thank you very much for all your support. As you all know, the intersection of Route 23 and Grafton Shop Road has claimed far too many lives. When the state said they could not afford to keep the project, we kept the project on the active project list by offering on the county's behalf to pick up the state share of this project, which was 20%. The state highway accepted our offer, and then our Department of Public Works worked with our federal partners, so they'll be picking up 90% a contribution instead of 80%. We're moving forward with new sidewalk construction to replace the mud paths that the citizens have trodden along Edgewood Road at Route 40, placing them out into traffic. And traffic light timing has improved greatly along Route 24 and other arteries countywide thanks to that close partnership with State Highway Administration. Harford County is about families. We've always had a strong commitment to improving our children's lives, and that's no more evident than our commitment to quality education. Let me be clear. Harford County has and will continue to fund our schools at or above state requirements. My administration will continue to work closely with the Board of Education and Superintendent Bolson to ensure our children have a first-rate education. I want to thank Dr. Bolson, if you wouldn't mind, sir. Thanks for being here this evening. To further that goal, the county purchased land for new elementary school to relieve overcrowding in the general population and for students with the most severe disabilities. By locating this combined school inside the development envelope, we have qualified for state funding, which will save Harford County taxpayers about $50 million. We continue to provide funding toward the $87 million Homestead Wakefield replacement building. Got a bargain. We have provided funding for higher teacher salaries, and starting teachers are on track to earn the required $60,000 per year. To help launch our students into good jobs, we established the first Harford County Government Apprentice Program, and 2 graduates of that program have already been hired by our Parks and Rec Department. We're proud that Harford County Public Schools has 250 students working at 168 companies, making Harford County a statewide leader in apprenticeships for our children to start their careers. Dr. Bolson, job well done. Thank you. Maximizing the impact of taxpayer dollars is absolutely essential. To that end, we've reconfigured our government to focus on achieving maximum levels of efficiency and productivity. I think of it as our own version of Doge before there was a Doge. Our Government Efficiency Task Force has explored cost savings and efficiencies throughout every part of our government. Our achievements to date include a thorough evaluation of our vehicle usage and maintenance to minimize the costs of buying and maintaining vehicles, a survey of all buildings countywide, that allows us to better prioritize maintenance and repair, a new ambulance building provider that resulting in substantial increases in revenue and efficiencies, a $14 million procurement savings through careful negotiation and best practices. Our talented law department has saved us $1 million in outside legal fees, and their 2024 attention to debt collection yielded enough revenue to fund an amazing 85% of the department's entire operating budget this year. High-tech investment in our transit bus service have allowed us to capture more federal grant funding, saving the county about $1 million. Parks and Rec looks to savings large and small, including their new low-mow program, where we reduce mowing frequency in certain areas, converting them into meadows and the like, saving money and helping the environment at the same time. The butterflies love it. As we continue efforts to spend less, our future prosperity depends on a thriving business community. Unfortunately, our state government has for too long been pursuing policies that are clearly at odds with a strong economy. As a result, the state economy is lagging well behind the rest of the nation, and with the state's projected revenue growth of less than 1% this coming year. We had to be honest about the budget challenges these state policies bring us both statewide and here at home in Harford. As Governor Moore said in his recent speech, urging county elected leaders to cut spending and grow the economy, it's not politics, it's math. The governor agrees with our Harford County strategy. We can't tax our way out of our fiscal challenges. Efficiency and economic development are key. While I welcome the governor's stated commitment to increase fiscal restraint and economic growth, our administration recognized this dire need 2 years ago when we first came into office. We were early to the game in understanding that state and county revenue projections were not at all sufficient to sustain projected budget increases. And we took the responsible step of pumping the brakes on spending. In doing so, we faced some harsh criticism, including criticism that this administration didn't know how to project revenues, allegations that proved totally unfounded. We were also early to recognize that what Governor Moore now calls the sugar high of federal stimulus spending had led our county to unsustainable levels of spending. Rather than yield to political pressure and overspend, we have undertaken tough measures to reduce the structural deficit that we inherited and ensure that the rate of growth in county spending matches the rate and growth of our tax returns, thereby avoiding any need to increase our tax rates. In doing so, we've earned awards for excellence in financial reporting, and we've maintained our AAA bond rating. I want to thank this council for your support in updating the 20-year-old fee structures and realigning county fee structures so that those who choose to use government services pay their fair share for those services, rather than shifting those burdens onto all taxpayers in general. For example, we increased charges to developers for inspections, and we shifted them a greater share and increase in new school construction. Obviously, those folks and their vocal advocates are not happy. Masquerading as fiscal hawks, they're opposed to these measures, but taxpayers agree. It's basic fairness. Moving forward, I look forward to this council's assistance in upholding our county charter. It's a roadmap to fiscal soundness and responsible government. Attempts by some to change or ignore our charter for political gain put these principles at risk. We must not stray from the wisdom of our charter, which has served our county so well for many generations. Our world's changing rapidly, and Harford County is well positioned to leverage new opportunities. For generations, Harford was viewed as a bedroom community to Baltimore, and our economic success depended heavily on the amount of land we cleared to build houses to support that Baltimore workforce. Well, folks, it's a new day. Modern high-tech manufacturing is here, and it's lean and it's mean. It demands smaller, better educated, highly skilled workforce whose brilliance and loyalty are the primary determinants of business success. In return, that new labor force demands an exceptional quality of life. They want short commutes from strong communities to safe and dynamic workplaces. That requires public safety, quality schools, entertainment, recreation, all in a beautiful setting. In short, high-tech manufacturing wants Harford County. Our new economic development team is on it, bolstered by a new team who have real-world business experience. Our plans have been aggressive, and I thank this council for your partnership. Instead of being a dumping ground for mega warehouses that chew up precious real estate and offer little in the way of living wage jobs, we are growing well-paying modern manufacturing jobs and expanding opportunities for local business. We have 3 new high-tech manufacturers now, and 2 more are planned. Our future lies in attracting companies like Parsons, Deloitte, Fairwinds, and Leonardo DRS, which have now taken up residence in Harford County. Service Engineering, which supplies drones for the U.S. Marine Corps and is also supplying Harford County with American-made public safety drones, is expanding now under a contract to build drones for the U.S. Army. I know service representatives here, and I appreciate you being out there, Mike. Each of these companies offers well-paying jobs to local graduates, encouraging them to build careers and raise families here in Harford County. More local manufacturers are expanding. Locally owned Independent Can Company, a long-term Harford County business, has invested recently over $4 million to modernize their production line so they can compete with goods currently made in China, the Far East. Chesapeake Spice has just completed an expansion that doubles their manufacturing space. We see continued success in other Harford-based high-tech business manufacturers like Better Engineering, Smith's Detection, RPM Technologies, Booz Allen, and AES2, and many more. And I want to thank you all. Well, if you're here, you want to stand up, please. I'd love to acknowledge you. I know some of you have reps here. Thank you for investing in your confidence in Harford County. And we'll not forget our startups and small businesses that are the backbone of our community. Our economic development team visited directly with 763 businesses this year alone. Together, the business community has brought us 850 new jobs and made $547 million in capital investments in Harford County in the past 2 years alone. To build our highly skilled workforce, our Economic Development Department, in partnership with our Economic Development Advisory Board, the Chamber of Commerce, and our local schools, has facilitated business showcases, bringing high school and community college students together with local businesses. And I want to recognize Dr. Bolson, Dr. Felder from the community college, Angela Rose, and Diane Senstak. And if you can all just stand up a minute, I appreciate your partnership on this. Growing business in Harford does not mean we ignore the importance of our region and overall economic success. We're working hard with other counties in the Baltimore region as part of the Baltimore Metropolitan Council and the Greater Baltimore Tech Hub to attract even more high-tech manufacturing. Those efforts have already paid off through a federal grant to establish a biotech research lab at our Converge Center in Aberdeen. Even with so many great improvements to economic development outcomes, highly vocal critics remain. But folks, that's to be expected. Change is always unnerving, and we've made major shifts in Harford's approach to economic development. Our efforts, though, I can assure you, are not driven by paybacks, political contributions, or cronyism. We're here to support Harford County, and we'll continue to do what's right for Harford, which means everyone plays by the same rules. As a lifelong resident, I fully agree with our citizens who want to protect our wonderful quality of life. It's what makes Harford County a special place to live. Toward that end, my administration is working with this county council, has protected more than 2,500 acres of farmland from development through our AgPres programs. We stopped construction of high-density apartments well outside of our urban centers. We shut down major development projects that violated our environmental laws, clogging our streams in the bay with silt. We hosted a very successful farm fair and Italian festivals, and we worked with the community to resurrect the Darlington Apple Festival. Construction is currently underway to complete the final section of the Ma and Paul Trail by March of 2026, creating an amazing 8-mile trail connecting Fallston, Bel Air, and Forest Hill. And I just want to give Paul Mangus, who's here this evening. Paul's been on this thing. You started this when you were in high school, Paul? For you pickleball fans, we opened an additional 12. Count it, a dozen pickleball courts this year. I get nailed for pickleball courts every time I go out into the public. 12 is not a bad pickup for a year. The Oakingham Peninsula on the waterfront between Haverty Race and Aberdeen now includes a total of 1,400 acres of preserved open space. And the draft master plan for public use of those properties is nearing completion. I had an opportunity to review it with Paul a week ago, and I'm really enthusiastic. We added an additional 132 acres of parkland in Joppatown and Edgewood communities, and this is planned for additional ball fields and a recreation center. We supported the arts with grants to organizations like the Susquehanna Symphony Orchestra, Ladue Gardens, and the Decoy Museum, and a concert series in Edgewood and Joppatown. And later this year, we're going to be celebrating historic anniversaries, including 250th anniversary of the Bush Declaration, 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, and the 50-year anniversary of the Vietnam War. We continue to support our veterans, and we're making a difference in their lives. And I'd like to, our Veterans Coordinator, Bob Brown. Bob, where are you here? If you just stand up for a second, I would give you applause, Bob. We appreciate everything you're doing. Bob tells a story of a Vietnam veteran who was facing homelessness and struggling to avoid health care and honestly having suicidal thoughts. That all turned around, however, when he attended one of our Veterans Resource Fairs put on by the various veteran service organizations throughout the county. When he went there, he got connected to the right people for help. And this hero tells us that Veterans Fair saved his life, literally. I'd like to take a moment to talk about our Southern County Task Force. We're in fact one county. I know everybody in this room understands and believes that, but for too long, I'm afraid that we allowed communities in Joppatown, Edgewood, and Belcamp to lag behind and languish. And those communities got plenty of talk, plenty of studies, but I'm afraid far too little action. 2 years ago, we formed the Southern County Task Force. It's an action-based initiative that uses data to identify challenges and opportunities in those communities and holds our leaders accountable for turning the tide. After 18 months of activity, they've produced some real improvements in the daily lives in the Southern County. For example, we now have street sweepers operating on a regular schedule in Edgewood and Joppatown. Public Works has paved 18 miles of county roads in those communities and repaired ample amounts of sidewalk and curbing. The community participation in parks and rec programs has expanded by 13%, and participation in rec council programs has grown by 38%. We upgraded 40 new street lights with new energy efficient and brighter light bulbs. Water and sewer upgraded service to over 2,700 customers. We upgraded infrastructure at Flying Point and Mariner Points Park, and we expanded those parks to enhance the local quality of life expanded events at those parks to enhance the local quality of life and attract visitors. And working with this council, we adopted the new livability code to upgrade the rental housing stock in those communities. And recognizing that government can't do it alone, we provided local, state, and federal resources to empower community leaders to partner with us and expand volunteer services, like the 10 community cleanups they organized this year that resulted in 37 large dumpster loads of debris being collected and removed from those communities. The 755 Alliance is one of our greatest partners in these efforts, and I just asked them to please stay. I know some of the representatives here. Thank you. And Rob Wagner's our government leader. Rob, just stand up for a second. He leaves our Southern County Task Force effort. Thank you, Rob. We continue to value and leverage a strong partnership with community groups like Harford Land Trust, 3P, Friends of Harford, and our community advisory boards. And those folks from those groups, please just stand up. We appreciate what you're all doing to help maintain a better community for Harford County. Thank you for everything you do. Folks, in some way, Harford County has had a tough year with 2 disturbing tragedies, one on the Ma and Paul Trail, another one in Joppatown High School. 2 neighborhoods face devastating house explosions, and others face historic flooding. But our community daily, I'm out in our community daily, and I see our residents rise to meet the challenges and support each other in good times and in bad. I'm also deeply grateful to see all of our county employees who work very hard every day. And when the unexpected happens, they rise at any hour of the night to help their fellow citizens. This is why I have such confidence in our future. Whether you live in Bel Air or Belcamp, in Jarrettsville or Joppatown, we're all neighbors. Everybody matters. No one is expendable. And we are all up to the challenge of making Harford County the best it can be. I see it every day. We're rising together, and the state of Harford County is strong. Thank you all. God bless you, and God bless Harford County.